In the words of Marianne Williamson, the moment of surrender is not when life is over, it's when it begins. And that is what today's video is all about. I'm going to be sharing a very personal story with you, an experience that I have had over the last couple of months, which describes exactly how surrender works. I know it is something that we all struggle with. You probably have had many, many moments in your life where you've been wanting something and you've been praying and asking for guidance and maybe asking for signs to be given to you, and it just feels like the universe is not listening. God is, he's not there. And maybe you've battled with the whole idea of even having faith in a higher power. And that's absolutely fine. If you're at a point in your life now, like for example, with it being the new year, and you're thinking, I want things to be different this year, I want 2024 to be a year where my dreams really do take off and I can see them coming into form and taking shape, then I'm going to share with you the power of surrender, what it means to surrender, and how surrender really works. We usually get to a point of surrender in our lives when we're actually quite desperate, and that's what that's what happened to me. And I'm going to get into that in a little while. I've been there many times before in my life where I've been really sort of in a bad way, and I've then just prayed and said, look, God, please help me, take over, this is just too much. And you've probably had lots of experiences like that as well, where you've seen on one hand how sometimes it feels like nothing's happening, and then on the flip side it feels like there is so much happening on your behalf, and you've been in the right place at the right time, and then you've looked back and thought, shit, like if I hadn't have been there in that exact moment, I wouldn't have had that conversation, or I wouldn't have picked up the phone and had that call. And it's like it when you have moments like that, you really then realise, okay, there is actually something happening. But to help you get clarity with wherever you are right now today, I'm going to explain it to you step by step. And I feel like the best way for that is to share with you um, an experience that's been happening in my life and is sort of ongoing now for the best part of a year. And it's really come to fruition in the last couple of months, and it's been super exciting. But it only happened and took place and really started to gather momentum when I surrendered. So that's why this video today is super important. And if you do stay right until the end of the video, I'm going to also be pulling a power thought card for you, which is something that I do in a lot of my videos, just to help you feel that synchronicity, feel that alignment, and through me know that you are actually being guided, you are in the right place, and you are on the right path. You're exactly where you're meant to be at this time. Okay, so this personal experience that I've sort of been hinting at, what is it? What's been happening? Well, I for ages was trying to sell my flat, the flat that I'm in right now, and a lot of people were saying, on the news, and my friends and family, oh, it's a really tough economy at the moment. Agents, the same old kind of stuff. Oh, it's a tough economy and it's a buyer's market right now, so you're probably not going to get the price you want, etc. But of course, believing in the law of attraction and having a firm faith in God and a higher power, I was like, no, that none of that applies to me. I know it's about positive thinking, and I know that there are people out there who are looking for a flat just like mine. Anyway, I put my place on the market back in like December 2022, and nothing happened, no viewings. Got to spring, I got one offer which wasn't quite what I wanted, and then I got another offer last September, and it wasn't what I wanted. And I literally, back in, it was about towards the end of November, I remember I went to my mum's. I stayed at my mum's for a bit in London, came back here with my son. I'm in Dorset here, which is like, for those of you who aren't familiar with England, it's like 3.5 hours away. I'm near the coast, and of course London's, urban, sort of inland. And I was feeling so down. I was feeling so disheartened. And I remember throughout the whole period of, people coming and going, viewings, me getting the place really clean and tidy. I have a 2-year-old, so of course it was so stressful all the time, getting the place all ready, getting his toys all packed up and kind of hidden away, and making the place look presentable. It was physically draining as well as mentally and emotionally, of course, with the sort of, oh, is this when things are going to turn around? Nothing. Got to November, as I said, I'd been away, came home, was feeling so frustrated, so upset, and so disheartened, thinking, what am I doing wrong? What the hell is happening? Why am I stuck here? And I throughout this whole time, I'd kind of been getting a sense of, all right, well, this is where I'm meant to be right now for whatever reason. And I'd been praying, asking for strength, asking for guidance, asking for signs, and so on. And anyway, this particular evening, I remember I looked at my son, and he was watching one of his favourite films, which is Fantastic Mr. Fox. Was it? No, it was the Polar Express, because it was coming up for Christmas, and he loves trains. And he was so happy in his little world, just watching the Polar Express. And I looked at him and I thought, you know, my main role right now is to just be here for my son, and be happy and be present, and that's it. Like, nothing else matters right now, because a happy home is it's an emotional thing. It's not about where we physically are living. So that's what I need to be practicing right now. That's what I need to be getting in alignment with. And then, kind of getting myself ready to be ready, as Abraham Hicks would say, for what's coming. And so I did that, and I had a word with God. I did some journaling, and I said, right, okay, God, I know I've said this before, but I really am going to step back and let you lead the way now, because I know that your plan is greater than mine. And I really meant it. Although I'd said it before, although I'd, sort of done the kind of, I'd gone through the motions of saying the affirmations and giving the lip service, it was really genuinely heartfelt. It was a moment of defeat. And so I did, and I literally felt this weight lifted off of me. And I thought, okay, well, that's good, that's nice, something's kind of shifted. But I did it from a place of pure intent of surrender. It wasn't about, if I do this, then X, Y, Z. Anyway, fast forward to the next morning at 11:11, dead on 11:11. I got a call from the agent who said, Holly, we've got someone who would like to view your property. It's a bit short notice, but they would like to come in this afternoon at 4:15, I think it was. And this was on the 30th of November. So I said, okay. I said, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a rush because my son's at home, but I can make it happen. And anyway, we did. I kept calm throughout the day. I thought, I'm not going to get stressed. I'm not going to, get all panicky. Remember what I said last night. I'm just going to go with the flow, and it's all good. And me and my son went out for a bit, come 4 o'clock. And then literally, as I was coming back, I ran into the agent who was getting in her car, and I said, oh, how did it go? She said, oh, they really liked it. I think they're going to put in an offer. They're first time buyers, so the deposit will be inheritance. And yeah, they're familiar with the area. They live on Portland, which is the island that I'm on, in Dorset. And yeah, I think they're going to put in an offer. But I'll let you know tomorrow at the latest if I don't hear anything this evening. So got back up to the flat, phone rang, Holly, they've just put in an offer, the asking price. And it was just so like, honestly, it was like magic. So anyway, I thought to myself, that's brilliant. Everything, is now going through really successfully. But then in terms of surrender, of course, then my next kind of concern was, okay, well, I need to now I need to find our new home. And I've already got a vision board. I've already, written a long list of all the things that my new home is going to be. And after Christmas came and went, and I was then sort of gearing myself up to really, I'd already started doing lots of meditating and thinking about being in my new home and spending time there with my son and visualizing all the details of our new house. Started to view properties in January this month, and wasn't really, seeing anything I liked, and I thought, no, this is not working. And anyway, last week, or 2 weeks ago actually, I was getting sort of disheartened, and then I received an email of this property, and it was one that I'd never seen before, and it had been listed. It had been on the market since like last September, which was ironically when I got my sort of an offer that I rejected, and I that was something else as well actually. The irony of when I sold my property, the offer that I'd rejected in the September, that same woman came back. And anyway, sorry, I'm going completely off on a tangent here, but the synchronicity all lined up in terms of when this property had been on the market since September, but it had never come to my attention before. And the reason it hadn't is because, like 2 weeks ago, it was reduced a second time to my budget. And the reason it had been reduced is because, again, it was inheritance, and the children just wanted to cut and run and get rid of this cottage. And when I looked at it, I went and saw it last Wednesday. It was, I didn't get, what was weird is that I didn't get this real kind of homely vibe. It wasn't like a sort of huge, like, oh my God, like how I thought it was going to be. And I was expecting bells and whistles to go off emotionally, and I didn't get that. But this particular cottage is in an area and in a village that is like my dream village of how I, want to sort of live in terms of my son and having a community and everyone being sort of really open and friendly and lovely. And it's right really near close by to Bridport, which is where I have a lot of friends. And it's just perfect. Like it's just the location was perfect, but the house, the cottage itself, on face value, it was everything on my vision board. It was just literally everything, but I didn't get that feeling. I didn't get that kind of, oh, this is, my new home type feeling, which is what I was expecting. And, but the location I love, and again, everything on face value kind of ticked the boxes, and I was like, okay, this is odd. This is weird. And so I prayed, and I said, okay, well, I'm just going with this because I feel like I need to go back for a second viewing. Went back for a second viewing last Friday, so a few days after I'd done the first viewing. And I spent some time in the village with my son. My son, he went into the property, he loved the garden, he loved everything about it. He was running around all over the place. And again, I was kind of not getting that same vibe. It was kind of just, it wasn't a bad vibe, it was just a flat one. But there'd been tenants in there because the person who passed away, it was, they were letting it out as a business venture, and now the kids want to get rid of it and they're impatient. That's why it's been reduced so much. And yeah, so anyway, we spent some time in the village. I spoke with the locals. I even went into one of the neighbours' houses because I knocked on the door. And again, this is what I mean, the community there, it's just so perfect and it's so beautiful. And there's stables just up the road, which on literally the same lane of the house, the cottage. And I really want to get my son into horse riding because I used to do a lot of horse riding when I was younger. So anyway, I asked for a sign, and I said to God, right, if this is the house for us, if this is the right place, then give me a sign. Please give me a sign. And I've spoken about this in many other videos, and one that I did recently was about trusting and waiting. And it was, yeah, it was something that I was really in a big, huge dilemma over. So went to the village, spent some time there, spoke with a lot of the locals. Again, I was getting all these really lovely vibes, but not so much from the property itself. And it was odd, and I was in such a sort of state of I don't, this is horrible, I don't know what to do, but I know I need to sort of make a decision. But there's something about this I can't let there's something about it that's calling to me, that's speaking to me. So like I said, I asked for a sign, and my sign was moon and stars. I love moon and stars, and the Orion's belt is always a very clear sign for me. I always look for the Orion's belt when I'm out, at night, and if I see the Orion's belt, I always think, okay, that means that's like my wink from God to say that I'm on the right path and I'm where I'm meant to be. So, in regards to this property, I said, right, I want a sign of moon and stars. That's my sign. I was walking back from this little farm shop that they had where I had a coffee and that with my son, and he'd been playing with some dogs in there, and obviously the locals were there and they were all talking to each other, and I was talking to them. And we were walking back through the village, absolutely stunning village, everything that I've been wanting and visualizing. So much history, so old, like right back to the doomsday, like over 500 years old this village is. And I looked up at the sky, and it was still broad daylight. I looked up at the sky and saw the moon. You know, when you see the moon during the day and it's quite sort of pale, but you can still clearly see it. And then I looked down, and right in front of me was someone's window with a huge star in it. And I that just blew me away, because it was like, this is real. This stuff is real, and I couldn't ask for a better location based on my budget. The fact that this property has been reduced so significantly, and it has only just come to my attention. And what I was talking about in terms of synchronicity before, or about the offer coming in September, and then coming back on the 1st of December, the day after I'd got the offer that I accepted, was, again, it was when I looked at the journey that property that I'm now on the brink of buying, um, it had followed the same pattern in terms of my journey with my sale, because it went up in September, one day after my son's birthday on the 23rd of September, and it was then dropped in price by 20,000 in November, which is when I then accepted my offer. But I'd rejected the first one in September, when it, around the same time, I think it was 1 week before this property went up for sale. And then in January it dropped again, and that's when it came to me, literally was emailed to me on, email alerts you set up on these property websites like Rightmove and Zoopla. And so it's kind of all come together. And even though this particular property, the property itself, is not speaking to me as of yet, I know it's a case of the fact that it's been lived in, but it's not been loved. And I know it's got so much beautiful potential in terms of being everything I want, for me to make it my own. So that was a real big decision for me. But cut a long story short, I put in an offer yesterday. I was very cheeky. I went in low, and they met me halfway. So what is actually this property's worth, sort of 50 grand more than what I'm paying for it. Which of course makes me feel better, because it's a wonderful investment, as well as being in the perfect location that I want. So there is so much potential there. And in terms of surrender, I really wanted to share that story with you, because surrender is a real thing. The work that we are practicing on a daily basis when we are manifesting is very real. And even though, of course, if you're familiar with my work and my videos, you know how much a big believer I am in the law of attraction. But of course we all have our moments of doubt and worry and thinking, okay, am I just losing my mind here? What the hell's happening? So I wanted to share that with you because it has completely reinforced my faith in God and in the universe and in how our thoughts really do become things. And the more we believe, the more we can create. So if I can do it and if I can create, then I know for a fact that you can too. And surrender really is such a huge part of that process. And please, again, don't think for a minute that surrender means giving up. It's not about giving up. It's not about giving up on your dreams and what you want. It's about acknowledging the fact that there might be a better way. And when I look back now, trust me, I could not have orchestrated what I've just described to you in the events and the synchronicity of it all. I would not have been able to do that on my own, and I would not have been able to write up the unfolding of all of what's happened recently, because it's incredible. You know, you hear all these bumper sticker sort of quotes saying, oh, you know, when you have fun, that's when the universe can really get to work. But it's true. When you surrender and you move out of the way and you say, you know what, I know that your plan is better than mine, you're making room for the universe to come in and do stuff for you that you wouldn't be able to do on your own. Because we all have doubts, we all have worries, we all have insecurities and fears, and it's incredible how, when you look around, nature is a really wonderful example to think about in terms of everything being in harmony and being perfectly orchestrated, and the birds and the bees and the butterflies and the ocean and the trees and the plants and the whole world, the planets, everything, the sun, the stars, the moon, everything is in perfect coordination and coherence with each other. And there's no jostling, there's no fighting, there's no, oh, well, yeah, but should we do this or should we do? No, nothing needs a clock. Nothing needs to be double checking on the time to think, shit, I'm running late, I need to get a move on with XYZ. It's just all so natural and effortless. And, most of it is stuff that we don't even still understand as human beings. So that was my story for you today. I hope it's given you some inspiration, and I hope it's given you a sense of confidence in surrendering. What I'd like you to do is what really helped me at that moment, that evening that I described, where I was sitting there feeling really low and feeling like I don't know what to do, or where to go with this, is do some journaling. Sit down and write. Literally just write out. It doesn't need to be a prayer, it can just be your thoughts, and address it to God, the universe, your angels, ancestors, whatever feels right for you. There's no rules here, it's whatever resonates with you and that you connect with, what you see the universe is symbolizing for you personally, that higher power. Write a short little note, it can be as long as you want, it's up to you again. Just go with what feels right, and just write down all your worries, all your concerns about this, and then surrender it. Sign it off saying, I'm handing this over to you. I know that your will for me is of the highest good for all involved, and I'm trusting you with this, and I'm willing to surrender and let go and put it into your hands, where I know that I will get and achieve what I want. It will be manifested either as I want or even better, and I give you permission now to do that on my behalf. So whatever words and dialogue you use, again, go with what instinctively comes to you. Use your intuition and just go with it. Allow whatever comes up to come up, and sign off saying, I now release all of this to you with love and gratitude, whatever. And do it, and trust me, you will feel that weight being shifted. And then just allow, go with what comes up. in terms of physical, events shifting, phone calls, people, signs, synchronicities. Ask for your sign. Ask very specifically for a sign. It could be anything. It could be a smell. It could be a song. It could be a word. It could be a symbol, like I had moon and stars. It could be anything. Um, and trust that that sign will come to you. And it will. It will come to you when you're on the right path. Even if at first glance it doesn't feel like it is. Like with my cottage, I genuinely, when I walked in there, I was so confused because I was like, everything about it is perfect, but it doesn't. It just, there's something missing. It doesn't feel quite how I thought it would. Um, and that really threw me. But I asked for a sign, and it was the sign. And when I was walking through the village, which is where I was feeling so much resonance, it was like, boom, there we go. So go ahead, do that, try it out. Let me know in the comments below how you get on, or even if you've got a similar story where you have surrendered and things have just, boom, come into place for you very quickly in a perfect way that you weren't even expecting. I love to hear those stories, and I think it's wonderful that we get to share all of those sorts of experiences in this space, because it does help us to reinstate our faith and strengthen our commitment to doing our spiritual practice and surrendering and appreciating and loving, and above all else believing that we have the power within us to achieve whatever we want for ourselves and for the greater good. I'm going to read you a quick affirmation card. So I'd like you to just take a few minutes, and in relation to what we've been talking about, what do you need help surrendering? It could be a habit, it could be a belief, it could be a relationship, it could be anything that you feel like you're sort of clinging on to unnecessarily, but it means a lot to you, so you'd like some guidance. Think about what that is, and just trust that the card that I pull for you now, the affirmation, is being pulled directly for you to hear, and that you've been brought to this video for a reason, and to be guided in the direction that is for your very best interests and your highest good. Incredible. Okay, so the card I've pulled is this one. I don't know if you can see that. Sorry, the reflection is... So it says, I am safe in the universe and all life loves and supports me. And then the back says, I breathe in the fullness and richness of life. I observe with joy as life abundantly supports me and supplies me with more good than I can imagine. I am safe in the universe and all life loves and supports me. I breathe in the fullness and richness of life. I observe with joy as life abundantly supports me and supplies me with more good than I can imagine. I mean, if that's not on point with what we've been discussing, then I don't know what is. Another thing for you to remember as well is that I'm recording this, it's Wednesday, it's currently Wednesday the 24th. I'm going to say Wednesday the 24th. Yes, tomorrow's the 25th, Thursday the 25th of Jan. It's a full moon tomorrow, full moon in Leo. And just in case you're not aware, I'm sure you are, but full moons are all about surrendering and all about releasing. And full moon in Leo is, of course, the symbol of Leo is a lion. It's about strength, it's about courage, it's about being a sovereign and stepping into your sovereignty, being a king or a queen in your own life, shining bright, shining like a star, being a leader, being the person that you want to be and loving yourself unconditionally, giving yourself the permission to be that person. So you use this affirmation: I am safe in the universe and all life loves and supports me. Now is the time, because tomorrow's full moon is going to be very powerful. And if you're watching this and it's after the full moon, that's okay, because for the few days either side of the full moon, that energy is potent, because planetary alignments are taking place and they're shifting. The aspects of the planets are all in motion. So don't worry, just trust that the time that you are seeing this video and hearing it is the time that you're meant to. And just go with whatever you need to surrender. Write it down on paper and hand it over, and trust that what you're wanting will come to you, and it will come to you in ways that you can't even possibly imagine, and so much bigger and better and brighter. I promise you. I hope my story has helped. I hope this affirmation card has helped you. It's given you some faith and it's given you hope and a sense of promise. One more thing I would just like to add, I know this has been quite a lengthy video, but I am going to be cutting down on the amount of videos that I'm doing for the next sort of couple of months. I used to do 2 videos a month, but I'm now only going to be doing 1. I'm going to do my best to do like a proper full length one. So if you've got any ideas of, like, if you'd like to see more cards being pulled, if you'd like me to talk about specific topics, please feel free to leave comments and suggestions below, because I am going to be dedicating a good sort of maybe an hour once a month to doing a proper full length video for you, because it's important that you have these free resources to use to help you, and that's very important to me too, that I am doing that. But what I am going to, obviously I've got a lot on my plate now with moving and organising documents and paperwork and all sorts of different things, but I'm also going to be doing, speaking of self-love, I'm putting together my self-love bootcamp membership, which is going to be full of video courses and all the courses that I've ever done in one place for a very small, reasonable membership price per month. So there are going to be more details to follow. I will leave the link down below where you can kind of see a little preliminary information about that. As I said, it's very early stages, so that's why I am now going to be sort of backing off on doing so many videos, because I want to give a lot of energy to this membership that I'm now going to be preparing and putting in place. And there's going to be all sorts of little freebies and things as well, and tasters for you to sample, so that if it is something of interest to you, then, you know, don't worry, you're not going to be left out of the loop altogether. If you can't afford it, that's fine. I'm still, as I said, going to be doing these videos just a little less frequently now. But yeah, I appreciate that not everyone can pay for such stuff. It is reasonably priced. Go check out the link below just to get an idea of what it's going to be about, but there is going to be much more information to follow, and I'm super excited. I've got all sorts of ideas about the divine feminine, about receiving, different practices and tools, courses, step-by-step guides. It's going to be incredible, and I'm super excited to get going on it. But as I said, there's going to be stuff coming out for you to explore too, if you're not quite sure yet, if the membership side of it is not something that you feel able to commit to financially. It's fine. I'm here to love you and help you and guide you in whatever way I can, as well. So I hope today's video has helped. If it has, please do like, share, comment and subscribe. And until next time, lots of love, take care, and I will see you very, very soon.